when some people saw your posts are trending online, when they saw the area you're contesting from, that is Kasilo County, where the current MP, that is Honorable Elijah Okupa, is, most people were actually raising questions. They're saying Mr. Peter Carlos was closely working with Honorable Elijah Okupa, but he has come to contest against Honorable Elijah Okupa. Why now? Why did you come up with this decision to come and contest?
Thank you so much. I think that's a very good question. It is true that I've worked with Elijah for quite a very long time.
Yes.
And that is 25 years that he has been in power.
Yes.
I started working with him in 2001, and I happened to be his DJ.
You were his DJ?
I was his DJ.
Okay.
So I was the one running all the campaigns, the public address system, organizing people to see that by the time when the big man comes to the stage, everything is organized. It's true. I have made up my mind that I'm going to challenge him in this coming election. Not because he has not done well. We must appreciate he has done his part. But I've also been part of the system.
Yes. And
I've also been in leadership. And that's why if you are to track my record, right from primary, I've been in leadership. I was the head prefect. When I gained the O-level, I was still an assistant head prefect.
Yes.
When I gained the A-level, I was also elected as the head prefect of Light Senior Secondary School.
Yes.
When I went to the university, I've also been active in leadership in different positions. And that's why you see that leadership spirit still follows me.
Yes.
Even when I came to the outside world, and that is Lions Club International, I have served as a club secretary. I have also served as a club president for Lions Club of Soroti Post. And then I've also served as a charter president of Lions Club of Soroti City. So that one really shows you that I have the leadership spirit in me. And it's the reason that has made me to come and try myself at a different level.
Yes.
But also in 2006, if you're in this town, I was among those who contested in Soroti municipality because I wanted to go to parliament. I was with Hannah Bariko, and then Atan, Peter Jur, Elaju,
yes.
and then Ekem. That was our time.
Yes.
That happened to be on the ballot. When I contested in 2016, I might be the third in the list of the candidates that had contested for parliamentary. Now, this time around, people are asking questions that why is it that we are coming in to contest against Elijah?
Yes.
First of all, we need to understand that this is a generational issue. Elijah represents the old generation. I am now coming in to represent the new generation.
Yes.
And usually, when you look at the new generation, there is a way they expect things to be done. Not like the way the old generation does.
Yes.
And then also, there is also that voter apathy, where people think that I think we must have a new leader that will come and probably work with us and probably implement the things that Elijah has not done for the last 25 years. So that is basically why I am coming on board to represent the views of the young generation.
Hello from wherever you are following us from. It's a new episode of The State of the People, a program where we bring leaders to account and share their manifestos ahead of polling that we all know is coming up our way. We are hosted at the Sanctuary Meat House in Kam Swahili here. The only place where you order for meat and you're given a full goat. Order for chicken, get full chicken. Order for drink, like I've ordered for, you get a full jerrycan of a drink. This is just a sip, just a sip. In the house today, we have a candidate from Serere District, that is Kasilo County, who is going to talk to us. we have a few questions, and believe we shall be interacting with him and get all these replies. Some of the questions that you people forwarded to us. My name is Nathan Yagu. We left home to change home, and you're watching at Teso Vibes, Teso TV, and the information can also be got from different blogs online. Honorable, you're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to come and have an interaction with you.
Yes.
My name is Carlos Ebiau. I am a candidate for Kasilo County.
Yes.
For Member Parliament. That is 2026 up to 2031.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Honorable, when some people saw your posts trending online, when they saw the area you're contesting from, that is Kasilo County, where the current MP, that is Honorable Elijah Okupa, is, most people were actually raising questions. They're saying Mr. Peter Carlos was closely working with Honorable Elijah Okupa, but he has come to contest against Honorable Elijah Okupa. Why now? Why did you come up with this decision to come and contest?
Thank you so much. I think that's a very good question. It is true that I've worked with Elijah for quite a very long time.
Yes.
And that is 25 years that he has been in power.
Yes.
I started working with him in 2001, and I happened to be his DJ.
You were his DJ?
I was his DJ.
Okay.
So I was the one running all the campaigns, the public address system, organizing people to see that by the time when the big man comes to the stage, everything is organized. It's true. I have made up my mind that I'm going to challenge him in this coming election. Not because he has not done well. We must appreciate he has done his part. But I've also been part of the system.
Yes. And
I've also been in leadership. And that's why if you are to track my record, right from primary, I've been in leadership. I was the head prefect. When I gained the O-level, I was still an assistant head prefect.
Yes.
When I gained the A-level, I was also elected as a head prefect of Light Senior Secondary School.
Yes.
When I went to the university, I've also been active in leadership in different positions. And that's why you see that leadership spirit still follows me.
Yes.
Even when I came to the outside world, and that is Lions Club International, I have served as a club secretary. I have also served as a club president for Lions Club of Soroti Post. And then I've also served as a charter president of Lions Club of Soroti City. So that one really shows you that I have the leadership spirit in me. And it's the reason that has made me to come and try myself at a different level.
Yes.
But also in 2006, if you're in this town, I was among those who contested in Soroti municipality because I wanted to go to parliament. I was with the Honorable Bariko, and then Atan, Peter Jules, Elaju,
yes.
and then Ekem. That was our time.
Yes.
That happened to be on the ballot. When I contested in 2016, I might be the third in the list of the candidates that are contested for parliamentary. Now, this time around, people are asking questions that why is it that we are coming in to contest against Elijah?
Yes.
First of all, we need to understand that this is a generational issue. Elijah represents the old generation. I am now coming in to represent the new generation.
Yes.
And usually, when you look at the new generation, there is a way they expect things to be done. Not like the way the old generation does.
Yes.
And then also, there is also that voter apathy, where people think that I think we must have a new leader that will come and probably work with us and probably implement the things that Elijah has not done for the last 25 years. So that is basically why I am coming on board to represent the views of the young generation, to represent the views of women, to represent the views of the persons that have been left out in the last 25 years.
Yes.
Now, I have traversed Kasilo for the last 1 year, but also the last 25 years have been part of me. So I know where Elijah has done well, and I also know where Elijah has not done well. So those are the gaps that I am coming in to close, so that the people get what they need, so that the people get that gap closed. So that is the reason why I am coming in. Now when you look at what I've been doing and what I'm still going to do, I know that now takes us to my manifesto.
Yes.
First of all, I understand the role of a member of parliament, the 3 key roles that a member of parliament is supposed to play. Now, one thing that people don't understand is usually people tend to ask questions that, no, people want you to do this and this and this, but that's not the role. But when you look at the 3 arms of government, we have the executive, we have the legislature, we have the judiciary. That constitutes government. Yes. Now, there is no way you are going to separate a member of parliament from government. Much as people tend to divert that, no, a member of parliament should not do that because it's not government. But when you look at the 3 arms, they all constitute government. They all constitute government. So we must have that gap closed. And that's why you see in my manifesto, I've talked about economic empowerment. Yes. How do we empower the young people? How do we empower women? How do we empower the old? That the old leadership has not been able to do. Now when you look at my manifesto details, I have explained to my people that there are things that I am going to do, and there are things that you must do as the people that I lead. So it's not going to be a one-man leadership, but it's going to be participatory, whereby we sit on the round table and discuss what we must do together, and what I must do as an individual, and what the voters must do, because we are trying to get out of all the politics, where people look at the leader like when I come here, people expect you to dish money. Yes. That on our institute, in our local language. Yes. So that kind of mentality is what we're trying to get rid of it, and see what we must do as a team. And I've emphasized like on economic empowerment. You know, Kasilo is a node and blessed with a lot of water. Yes. We are surrounded by the water bodies. Now, we basically face challenges where our people entirely used to depend on the lakes. Now, if they used to depend on lakes entirely for a living, and now government has come up with policies that restrict people from going to the lake, that restrict people from using wrong gear, what must we do? Yes. So that's where the issue of mindset change comes. And that's where the issue of lobbying comes in and say, now, can we venture something else? Maybe we'd look at the construction of the fish ponds. Yes. We can put these young boys, women, and the old, and say, please, can you dig the fishing ponds? And then for me, as a leader, I try to lobby how we can get the hatcheries, where when we hatch the fingerlings, would now be dropping them into those fishing ponds. And then also get experts who will train people on fish farming, so that we supplement the lake. I am informed because I have a brother working in the fishing industry. We no longer have enough fish even to export out of the country, because we completely rely on the lakes, and then people need to survive. So in my manifesto, I'm looking into that how we lobby so that we construct many fishing ponds around the water bodies, so that we have our people employed in that. Then we also have time that allows the fishing industry, the fish in the lake to mature. Because if every day we are going to the lake, it means we are going to drain the lake. And that's why the issue of sustainability comes in. I've always told my people that, yes, much as you complain, I'm a fisherman, I do fishing. Yes. I think for the last 10 years, I know all those areas in the lakes. But I have told them that it's what we call sustainable development. Now, sustainable development, we are looking at how do we preserve the fish for the future generation. Now, if government is coming up with the policy, then we must all accept and say, let's go by that. Let's protect the fish. Let's use the right size of nets. This one of the one they call Okupa. that gets all what, even if it's small, big, and what, they all bring it together. We want to get rid of it, and I must be able to teach people. I must be at the forefront to tell them that this is wrong. Then I'm also looking into one area where I look at the agricultural modernization. How do we modernize agriculture? How do we get people on board? And that's where the role of leadership is needed. Like I've visited some areas, and I ask myself, if you go to an area, you get there is a lot of chicken, maybe the cassava is growing well, whereas here we have those shortages. Chicken are dying, what's the problem? So we're going to do benchmarking as a leader and the people, and probably go and look at the good practices that are happening in the other areas, so that we can also implement in Kasilo, so that our people continue having enough food. Our people can sell chicken and earn their livelihood, and probably they're able also to earn money and pay school fees for their children. So those are areas that, well, how do we work together, how do we improve it, and how do we educate people. And that gap is there currently, because I have not seen where leaders come and educate people on what could be done. You find people even calling and say, Peter, the cassava that we have is already rotten. Within 6 months it's rotting. But when you go to other areas, I've got the opportunity to travel to the north. You get their cassava lasts even for 2 years. So now as a leader, and we want to try to fight the issue of hunger, I must be able to benchmark with the people of Lango, the people of Acholi, and probably ask them that which kind of variety you have here, and how do we introduce it to our region. And also probably maybe get into the national level, at the parliamentary level, and say, now, how do we address the issue of scarcity of food? We have learned that in these areas, they have this kind of varieties that can last for many years. So how can government come in? How do you intervene so that I get the cassava cutting that benefit the people in my region? So those are some of the things that we are going to look into. And then on the environmental, you know, I'm an environmentalist. I love environment. I love planting trees. It's also in my manifesto. And that's why when you move around Serere, I have planted over 2,000 trees. Over 2,000 trees. I've planted in different churches. I started in churches. Church of Uganda, PAG, the Catholic churches. All of them have got my trees, and I've grown up. They're very taller than me. So in my manifesto, I am looking into that how are we going to save our environment? And as a leader, I must have an input. Now, if some of these trees are going to be given, we are not going to rely on the old system, where government brings trees during dry season. And at the end of the day, all of them die. So I must sit with my people and look at the areas and look at the times where these trees are going to be supplied, so that they survive. So that they survive. So I am going to concentrate on environment. I'm going to plant calcutta trees with the people. I want this leadership to be participatory. Let it not be only me, but they must participate into that. Then I'm also going to introduce some of the fruit trees. I have moved to Busoga region. Every time I travel to Kampala, I see fene trees, the fene fruits on the roadside. I meet trucks and trucks of fene going to Kampala. Even as in Soroti city here, the fene that we eat here does not come from Teso. It comes from Busoga. And that's why you see, every time the things are being ferried from the other side. The fene, the pineapples, how do you call it, the matunda, the passion fruits, all of them are coming from the other side. So I must do a lot of work to change the mindset of the people. And fene, or the jackfruit, is one of the trees that I want to introduce in my constituency. I want to try it and see and engage everybody, every family. At least they should have five trees of jackfruit. Because when they have those trees, one, it acts as fruit, as food, but also it will discourage people from cutting.
Yes.
Because people are now rampant because they want house chapel and what and what. So they cut any type of tree that they get in the bush. But if we introduce this in people's families, then definitely everything is going to work out to work in our favor. Then of course there's the other one of the corporate social responsibility. That one of course it's a must. We live in a society.
Yes.
We live in a community. The thing that I must address as a member of parliament. So if the community has some needs, definitely those ones, I will try to see that some of those gaps are covered.
Yes.
I know there are the other national issues that I'm supposed to tackle, the issues of policies, good policies, the good laws, the issues of oversight, especially on the government programs. Those ones I'm going to follow up to the dot, because I've also seen there is a gap somewhere, whereby money comes from the central to the districts, but members of parliament don't follow, especially on implementation. And that's why you get wastage of resources. So the money gets swindled because our leaders are not following it. And then there is also the issue of water and sanitation. In the area that I come from, we have few water bodies where people get clean water for drinking. So I am going to ensure that I lobby for enough water bodies, like boreholes, so that my people drink clean water. And then there is the other aspect of education. I love education so much. I love education so much, and I started it. And I've been concentrating basically on the primary school. Yes. Kasilo used not to get first graders. If you have to get first grader, you get only in the private school. But I contacted the district, the DEO, plus the COW. I told them that there are schools that were going to do the pilot study. Yes. And one of them is Adweni Primary School. Then you have Okupa, there's Apapai, there's Toror and Ogera, Chulura. Those are nearby schools that I wrote to the district and told them that give us these schools. Yes. We don't want you to have transfers of teachers, especially the P6, P7, and then their headmasters. Yes. Give us 3 years. We try our level best to see if we cannot improve the quality of education in the primary level. But I want to tell you that it has been a success, because Adweni Primary School, Adukut Primary School, Apapai Primary School have been giving us, for the last 3 years, have been giving us first graders. And I must appreciate the Speaker of Parliament, because some of these people that have come in have been taken to Bukedia Comprehensive. Yes. And then last year we also had, especially the girls, all the girls that we had 11 who got first grade in Kasilo. Yes. Others were taken to St. Elizabeth. I must appreciate sister for that initiative. Now, that is in terms of education. Now, we have done much, especially with the teachers, with the limited resources. We put in money there to train, to have teachers undergo refresher trainings, and I've done it. And that's why they're able to deliver. Now, with the resources that I will access from Parliament, with the kind of lobbying, I am very confident that Kasilo will be very competitive academically if I take in that mantle to become the next member of Parliament. It's not about rewarding people, because the old leadership has been purely rewarding the first grader. And that's where our leaders go wrong. Yes. How do you say, I am going to give a mattress for those who get first grade, and yet you are not preparing the foundation? So my leadership is about preparing the foundation. Yes. How to lay the foundation so that these ones are able to get first grade, able to get second grade, are able to get third grade, and move to advanced level. Yes. And then also, of course, I've also done a lot in secondary school, equally O and L level. I've also planted trees there, and every year whenever the students sit, I go, before they sit for the exam, I go and discuss with them, give them career guidance, and then to mark our year, to plant trees around the secondary school, so that we fight on this climatic change effects. So purely, that is the reason why I have come to offer myself into leadership. There are quite so many things, but those are the key areas that I'm going to to look into, much as the other ones of oversight, legislation, and all those ones basically will come in automatically. But these other aspects of improving the livelihood of the people is at the forefront. And the reason I am coming in to offer myself so that we have Kasilo liberated in 2026.
One would follow this conversation and say you have quite a good manifesto. You've spoken about looking at education, oversight, and of course climate change, then issues of health. Now, earlier on you said you're actually coming to contest because you want to be representing the young. You're saying the old should go back and the young should come. Now, you've been working with Honorable Okupa. One would actually pose a question and say, why didn't you advise Honorable Okupa to actually implement some of these ideas that you're having? Is it that he did not listen to you?
Thank you so much. You see, leaders are different. I want to quote one, there was a time, I think somebody quoted one time, something on the president, and said that President Museveni has over 100 advisors, but instead he's the one who advises them. Usually, when leaders are in power, the majority of them don't listen to the advice from the young people. So they tend to detach themselves from the reality. And usually when you keep advising somebody for quite long and you see the person is not moving in the right direction, definitely that's why you get opposition coming in. And that's why I say even in government, there are people that have worked with President Museveni for quite long, but because there was a difference in idea or in ideology, they had to opt out of the system. So that's basically what has been happening with me. I have been part of the system, I've advised the system, but I see the system does not listen. So that's why I'm now saying, please, I think enough is enough. We should now take on and see how we can move in. But also, usually I like this phrase when I'm in the field. I tell people that do you want to change or you want more of the same? So if people want to change, if they've seen the gap, then I'm the best person to offer in. Then also, they say, if you don't try something new, nothing changes. So there are changes that I am going to bring, not because the other one has failed, but it's because I also want to rewrite history. And that's how countries, how constituencies move on. If you have done your part, people are praising you, and I'm coming in to step into your shoes, I'm also going to do my part. I could be an educationist. When I come on board, I will improve on education levels. If I'm a doctor, maybe my emphasis will be to improve on the health system in that constituency. To work on those gaps. And that's why you see, when I talk about lobbying, in my constituency, in the whole district of Serere, it's an area whereby even when people die, we have to transport dead bodies up to Soroti. And then those are things that would sit down and say, what must we do? Why do you make us, the taxpayers, to keep on wasting money taking the dead bodies to Soroti? Why can't we have our own? And that's why you see, in Serere, I think we only have 2 ambulances. But those ones have just come up recent. And those are things that, if I'm at the national level, I would sit with my colleagues and say, you guys, why do we spend money on procuring the ambulances? And then we can push this thing in the national budget. Let it appear in the budget. So that when the budget is brought to the floor of Parliament, we shall ask government that this year, our priority should be on health. We need ambulances. We need better wards. We need beds. Now, if those ones are not captured in the budget, then we're not going to capture. And then we'll also be discussing about probably there are areas that a lot of money has been going. We'll now be saying that, please, government, can we reduce that budget and come here? Because this is where our biggest problem comes. But also, above all, for us to modernize the country, we should be able to make sacrifices. Now, when you look at the spending in government, there's a lot of wasteful spending. Those are things that we debate in Parliament and say, now, I think some of these areas need to be cut off. Like when you look at the number of members of parliament. Yes, I want to go to parliament, but I'm one of those who has been advocating for the reduction of members of parliament, because the parliament is too big.
Yes.
And then we can save some of the monies and put it back to the local people. Now, when you look at the representation from the army, I think the army has about 11 MPs. We are now having the elderly coming on board. Now, these elderly who are coming on board, these are already rich people. The retired civil servants.
Yes.
Today I was seeing the wife to Honorable Mama Babas also getting nominated. I saw Ofono Pondo getting nominated. Now, these are rich people who are already getting pension from government, but they are coming again. There is pension entering into the accounts, but they are also coming to draw resources from government. So those are some of the areas that we say, can we have the cuts, the RDCs? You see, there was a recent one where they added even the assistant RDCs.
Yes.
So the areas that we must look into and say, I think we must agree, as government cannot allow some of these people to go home, and then that money goes to handle other areas. And then we've also seen people holding different positions. One person having different positions. You're a member of parliament, you're a minister, you're internal accounts committee, you're a chairman NRM at the district level, you are what? So you see, there's duplication of work, and the money is concentrated in the hands of few individuals. So how should we work out and improve on that? So those are things that we are going to push when we're in the floor of parliament.
You actually mentioned an issue about reducing the number of MPs. How about tomorrow when you go through as a member of parliament of Kasilo County, and Kasilo County becomes one of those affected to be removed from the list of counties? What will you do? How will you feel?
Now, I'll feel good, and I would possibly come back and compete in an area where that reduction has occurred. For example, because of recent, they divided us.
Yes.
Pingire was carved out of Kasilo.
Yes.
So if they are coming back and saying we are bringing back Pingire to Kasilo, and probably maybe merge with Serere. For example, if they said we are going to have only one county,
Yes.
or one man, one woman, I will definitely compete at the district level.
Yes.
If it's only one MP for the district, I'll offer myself because I want to represent the people. So that will not be a big problem for me.
You mentioned about some leaders spending money, and it's currently happening, and I see it's going to continue happening for some time. How are you going to compete with people who have money?
Yeah, that's a good question. I know people take money at the forefront, but there is power in education, and that's why Nelson Mandela said education is the most powerful weapon that you can use to change the world. I am engaging my people. I am talking to them in different forums. I speak to them in churches. I speak to them in barrios. I speak to them over the radio stations. I speak to them over gatherings, so that they get to understand the role of leadership. You know, people look at leadership as only spending money. So we have to take them through what leaders must do, the type of leaders that we have. And that's why you see we have those ones who are is what we call transactional leaders.
Yes.
And that's where the issue of money comes in. Those ones who spend money because they want to win. After winning, they keep quiet, again they come back after 5 years. So there are those ones that we call transformative leaders. Their work is to transform the areas, to transform the societies. And that's why it's, even at the presidential level, that's why you saw in Tanzania, when Magufuli came in, Magufuli did a lot in the shortest time. The 4 years that was president, he did a lot because he was a transformational leader.
Yes.
So we need to tell people that it's all about getting leaders who can transform us, who can transform our livelihood. Not about spending money. And once people get to understand that, I want to assure you, my brother, that we shall get an overwhelming victory. But I'm happy people are now getting to live beyond that, because we tell them that now your role as the electorates is to ask us questions.
Yes.
Like if Carlos becomes a member of parliament, if we are to shape this country, it's not about asking for money, but asking for accountability. What have you done for the last 5 years that we have given you? Yes. But we want them to account in terms of health, in terms of education, in terms of water and sanitation, in terms of transport, and other sectors that we have in the economy. Now, once we begin asking questions along that, our people will not be asking money. They'll be asking now for you to account, because when they go to the hospitals, they are not drugs. The roads are unpassable. When you look at the boreholes, they are dilapidated. People are sharing water with animals. Now we must now tell people what they should expect from us. Like if these budgets are passed, like this year I think we have about 72 trillion. Now if the 72 trillion budget is passed, we should now be, you voters should be able to ask us that we have seen the budget is 72 trillion.
Yes.
But how much has been allocated to Serere City? We want to know, because we come from Serere City. But explain to us in terms of education, in terms of health, in terms of this and this and this. Now, when people begin asking that questions, I want to assure you, Jonathan, our members of parliament will not be sleeping in parliament. Will not be wasting in parliament. It is going to be Uganda first. It's not going to be about NRM. It's not going to be about FDC. It's not going to be about UPC. It's going to be about the country. Because now they'll get to know that I think these guys have become wise.
Yes.
So even when they are discussing in the parliament, when they are allocating budgets, they will know that I think we must fight for the local man, because if we don't fight for them, then they'll show us exits. Yeah.
In Serere, and in particular the Kasilo, most of the people there get their money through going to fish. And you realize areas surrounded by water bodies are faced with the challenges like early marriages. And it has been on record. There are young teenagers who are currently having families in Kasilo County. What are you going to do about that? How are you going to address such an issue?
Yeah, thank you. You see, like the fishing industry has entirely been our source of livelihood.
Yes.
For food, for paying school fees.
Yes.
Everything, it has been around that.
Yes.
But when the policy was passed, things have changed. And that's why people are crying.
Yes.
But now government is bad. As leaders, we should now be able to get back to government and say, these people have been earning a living here. It's all about transforming their minds. What incentives are we going to put in place? Yes. We should give them startups so that they can begin from there. Otherwise, if we're passing up a policy without coming up with a startup, it becomes very difficult. And that's why you saw last time in Karamoja, when they disarmed the Karamojong. I lived in Karamoja for about 3 years. And that time of disarmament, I was there. Government first came up with the policy of saying, we are going to pay everyone who has a gun. You're going to be on the payroll. And indeed they paid. And people registered. Now when they registered, of course government now identified everybody who had a gun. If you have 3 guns, you're earning 3 times. Yes. They decided giving them money. Now, time came when government said, no, I think enough is enough. Get for us the guns. But when you're getting out the gun, you will continue earning. Those who cannot surrender their guns, we are going to cut off the aid. And that's why World Food was there, World Food Program. And then of course the money that was also paid to those Karamojong. Now, that is what we want also in Kasilo. When we are getting people out of fishing, can we provide an alternative? So that they don't entirely get annoyed, they don't entirely get frustrated, they don't drop out of school. Because the people who are getting married early, most of them are people that have dropped out of school. But if the other source of making money was there, their parents would have been able to afford their education. But much as that has come, because now that's now almost like postmortem. As a leader and other leaders in the area, we should be able now to come and speak to these people and say, what are the effects of early marriages? Most of our people are getting married because there is no proper education. There is no proper connection between the local leaders and the national leaders. But if we all get involved, I want to assure you that will definitely reduce on the level of early marriages. And I want to agree with you, your report is true. In Serere, we have a lot But also, according to the report, I was in Teso here, Soroti. I was speaking to the Teso manager, Charles Ebiau, who also told me in Serere is one of the areas, it's a hot spot where many people are HIV positive. And that's very dangerous for the future generation. And that's why we must come in and say, now what must we do? Now, if this one's already, most of the young people are HIV positive, what must we do as government? What must we do as leaders? And all these concerns have to be raised by the leader. But you cannot get this information if you are not in touch with reality.
We're still at the sanctuary. This is where we are hosted from. And in the house, I am together with Peter Carlos Ebiau, a candidate contesting to be elected as a member of parliament for Kasilo County, that is in the Serere District. My name is Mafane Yagu. We left home to change home. Honorable.
Yes.
Aguara is in the Kasilo County, and that's one of the areas most people actually move to actually go and get fish and come back here and sell. And it's also an area where some of the companies go and buy fish from and take back to different areas. Now, for many years, Kasilo, that road heading towards Kagwara was supposed to be tarmacked, but rather it is still the same way. Recently, floods cut off one of the major routes that was taking people straight up to Kasilo. So there was an alternative that was actually created. How are you going to use your voice to ensure that the road heading towards Kagwara is tarmacked?
Thank you so much. Kagwara has been cut off. The same thing applies to Bugondo, from Kamod, Bugondo up to Kadungulu. But the one of Bugondo has been worked on. We are now left with the one of from Kabulabula up to Kagwara, that stretch. That's where the water has crossed. But first I want to thank the government of Uganda. If it's true what President Museveni talked about the other day during the election address, that the money for Mokumi, Serere, and Kagwara has been allocated.
Yes.
So if that money has been allocated and the contractor has been procured,
yes,
it definitely means, because I know usually government programs take long, I know that construction is going to begin maybe in 2016.
Yes, yes.
It will not get me when I'm already in power. So my work is basically now to go and supervise the construction of that road from Kumi to Ngora, Soroti, Kagwara, so that we have quality construction in place.
Yes.
So that's basically what I'm going to do. And the same thing applies to from Soroti to Serere. I've been informed. They wrote to the minister, one of our General Kidi, went and spoke to the minister, and I think the minister decided to capture that road, because there are some kilometers that the minister, when you talk to the minister can decide to add to that contract. Yes. So I'm happy that those roads have been captured and the money is there. President Museveni assured us that members of parliament go and supervise, ensure that the road is perfectly done. Yes. So I'm grateful for that.
And still again, within Kasilo and within the whole of Serere District, it has been seen as a hotspot of insecurity. Number of insecurity cases have been reported. What are you going to do about that?
First of all, security begins from us. I know there have been rampant cases of death.
Yes.
Especially women. Women have been killed. Young girls have been killed. But like I said before, security begins from us. Most of our people are not educated on the issues of security. We have been having that gap. Now, we need to involve the area, the LOC ones. Yes. We need to involve the GISOs, we need to involve the PISOs. If we are to get rid of, and then the DISOs, the RDCs, if we are to get rid of this vice. Yes. Otherwise, if leaders don't come to sit with the people in charge of security, then we shall continue having the threats. I want to assure you, when I become a member of parliament, the DISOs, the RDCs, the GISOs, which will be having meetings, so that we discuss the issues of security, we look at the loopholes that should be closed.
Yes.
Otherwise, if we don't discuss with security, definitely some of these killings will continue. But I'm also informed, and I know, because I've worked with different security organs,
Yes.
there is a big gap, and that's where the budget comes in. How do we allocate money to cater for that? Because there could be a problem in Kadungulu, a problem in Kateta, but if the police and the army does not have fuel to drive up to that location, then it becomes very difficult to fight insecurity. So those are areas that we must push for as government and see, can we have budget for these emergencies?
Yes.
So that we have our people rounding up these hooligans who are killing the people. And then also probably the issue of sniffer dogs and so on, they should also be introduced in different locations so that we capture these people. So that's what I'm going to look into.
When you look at the race of Kasilo County currently, there are a number of candidates. Would you describe yourself as the best candidate for this position?
There are quite so many candidates. I think so far the ones that have expressed interest, there are about 6 candidates. Yeah, definitely. I know I'm the best candidate. Yes, in the race, because I know what I'm going to offer, and I know what I've offered so far. I'm only waiting for their mandate. But among the 7, I'm the best.
You're the best.
Yes.
What message do you have for the people of Kasilo County?
Like before, I've always told them that you cannot get change on a silver plate.
Yes.
You must work for it. If you want better things to come, you should be able to work hard. So this election is coming. It's not about Carlos. It's about Kasilo. It's about the people of Kasilo. It's about what they want to be done in that constituency. So if they feel that they need change.
Recently, President Museveni mentioned about the Balalo who have actually moved to different areas with their cattle. And I believe also in Serere we do have them. As a leader, what do you see and what do you say about that? And how is it affecting the people?
Thank you so much. I think the issue of Balalo has been at the forefront, especially Teso and then Acholi.
Yes.
I think yesterday I listened to the debate from the former member of Parliament, Latigo, when they were discussing about the issues of the Balalo. These Balalos don't come from anywhere. They come from within us, within the country.
Yes.
Now, there is no way a Balalo will get to know that there is land, free land for grazing in Serere if it does not work with the locals.
Yes.
So the problem of the Balalo is purely contributed by us, the local people. One, we sell land to them, and the law allows anybody to buy land. And that's why when you look at the north, they are both big chunks of land. Now when they come and buy land, they get back to their original areas and then bring now their cattle. Now when the cattle comes, people see big number of cows and they begin grazing on our land, not only in their land. And that's where the complaints begin to come. Because sometimes they even trample on people's foods, they destroy them. So that's where the problem. But of course, as leaders, we must come up with a position on handling them. How do we live together with them?
Yes.
Because they have already owned land. Unless if we can say we don't want to sell. Because if you refuse to sell land, then definitely they will not be.
Yes.
They will not be there. So, but as long as we continue selling land to them, we shall have these challenges. And now, with the rapid population, it becomes difficult because you put in your gardens with this fragmented land. Definitely when they're grazing their cows, it will affect. I saw, I think around Uganda, where I saw a big number of cows being killed for the Balalo. That cannot help. I know people are taking it seriously because they're hungry, but we must sit down and get a harmonized position. Even when we're introducing, because we encourage farming
Yes.
and grazing of cows and what. How do we manage them? Probably we should have systems, maybe paddocking and so on, so that we avoid these conflicts amongst us. But as Serere, I think we only had the issue in Agu, but the other parts of Kasilo, Pingire, Kateta, we have seen a great reduction of the number of palalo in those areas.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, still at the sanctuary meat house in the Swahili, as we come towards the end of our interview with Honorable Peter Carlos Ebiau, a contestant for MP in Kasilo County here. So kindly come here in case you have a birthday party, you need a cool place for yourself. Maybe you need some small space to do some office work. This is actually a place for you. Very quiet, very convenient, and just along the highway, easy for you to get a border to take yourself back to where you came from. Honorable, your last words as we come to the end of this interview.
First of all, I want to thank you for inviting me for the show.
Yes.
You and your crew. Thank you for the audience.
Yes.
But I also want to appeal to the voters. Time has come for you to change leaders.
Yes, yes.
Those that have worked well, return them to Parliament.
Yes.
Those that have not done well, please push them out. Because we want leadership that works for all of us.
Yes.
We don't want leadership that works for few individuals. Countries are progressing, constituencies are progressing, but our leaders are sleeping.
Yes.
And that's why when you travel across the country, get to Rwanda, get to Tanzania, get to our neighbors, Nairobi, Kenya here, leaders are doing a lot of work, but our work is to sleep. So if our leaders are sleeping, can we face them out? Face them out and get young people who come and transform the area. Just like even in the city here. I think we've had leaders that have stayed for quite a long time, but we're not seeing changes. I want to appeal to you, whether somebody is NRM, whether somebody is FDC, whether somebody is UPC, and you know the person is not working, face them out. This mentality of voting for parties that for me it's NRM. Even when a person is not working, you are still rigid that I am NRM. You know very well that this is a corrupt man, but you still vote for him. You know FDC one is not working, but you are still stuck with the person. No. I think we must outlive that kind of mentality and make these people to account to us. Yes. Let them work for us. They're our servants. We should not fear them. We should be able to invite them on a round table and discuss. And I also want to appeal to you, the media. The media plays a very key role. Right from the radio stations, the televisions and what. Bring these people, the public. Let the public ask them questions. Because when I'm on radio, people are able to ask me questions. Like, Carlos, what should we do about MBCD? What direction should we take? So that's the kind of leadership that I expect now to come in 2026. But it does not come from outside us. It comes from within us. We must act. We must act. We should not spare people because somebody is maybe a vice president, somebody is a speaker of parliament, somebody is a minister, and then we brag and say, you are the minister, we are going to lose that appointment, and yet you are not working. So let them give us way. I know one day we will get those people that work for us. And that's why you see in some cities, I was discussing with the planners of this city that have traveled across some regions. You get the issue of environment. Even when you're constructing roads, you get trees planted across, in the middle of the trees, on the sides of the trees, in towns. And the town is cool. These issues of us feeling heat throughout the year will not be there. Because we are now embracing the green procurement into our construction industry. So that's what I want to appeal to the voters, those who are listening. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much. That has been Peter Carlos Ebiau, candidate contesting for Member of Parliament in Kasilo County. Definitely, we shall be having him again here next time. I want to appreciate all those who have followed us from the time we started this interview up to this moment, whereby we are now coming to the end of this interview. It has been so great having you guys watching the State of the People, a program where we bring the leaders to account and those who are contesting to come and share their manifestos with us. I want to appreciate the management of the sanctuary for having us here as always. And I want to appreciate my crew, Emma, who is behind the camera. Thank you so much. James, the guy who has been in charge of flow management and the script writing. Thank you so much. Till we meet again, my name is Nathan Yagu. We left home to change it.